Okay, there are a lot of people who are cool with this finish. There are a lot of people that are okay with how it got fit, how the whole thing got capped off. But I have never been so pissed off in my entire life. Mainly because it wasn't needed. It was unnecessary. The whole authority angle should die and die a quick death. I thought it was over. I really did. I thought that it was a whole new era to where the authority would not be in the forefront. It is. I'm sorry. They're going to probably say that Stephanie didn't know anything about it and he came out there, had nothing to do. If you want to make something new, if you want to have this belt to be with more importance, have these guys win clean. It has been proven that Kevin Owens has been able to win clean on his own. He did not need help. I understand Seth Rollins. I get it. The fact that he was a heel, you made him a cowardly heel. I get it. But every single time you have somebody help someone out, they become a freaking coward. It's bad enough that Kevin Owens is already marked as a freaking coward. I wanted him to have a clean win with this. I was okay with the fact it wasn't Roman. Roman didn't need it. It would have made it worse for him. And I'm happy he did not win. But the fact that it was either Seth or it was either Kevin was great. The match itself was cool. It was great. It was amazing. But that finish was lousy. Triple H should stay where he is. He should stay behind the scenes. He should be focused on the cruiserweights. He should be focused on NXT. He has no reason to be involved in this unless it's going to be a high-profile feud for either a big four pay-per-view or something to promote WrestleMania 33. It's about him. It's always about him. It's either about the McMahons or it's about Triple H. I'm tired of Triple H on my screen. His legacy has already been set. It is time for the future to move forward. And it can't move forward if it keeps going back. I am sorry I had to put this rant out first. I know a lot of people on Twitter are just happy and ecstatic that Triple H came back. I'm not. Because it's going back to how it used to be, depending on the legends. If you want to make a future, you have to be alright with mistakes and just move on. Instead of going back to the same old shtick that they have been doing for the past few years. The authority needs to die. And it's bad enough that they're going to bring it back with Triple H. Be like, oh no, they're not going to bring back the authority. Yes, they are. With Triple H in the forefront. I'm telling you right now, they're probably setting up a triple threat match with Triple H somewhere in the middle. Always. He has a bigger ego than Vince. I have never been so displeased and pissed off in my life because Owens needed a clean win to show that this guy has earned it. Maybe I am old school. Maybe that's how I see it. And knowing that Kevin Owens is a magnificent talent, been in amazing matches, he does not need that win. I'm tired of him being a coward. He's just now getting respect back from the crowd. Can we at least have this man have some dignity and let him have a clean finish in the second, not the first, Stephanie, the second Universal Championship match? Could he have had it? He could have had a clean win and it would have been better. It would have been over the top great. But then they chose to do that. Just pisses me off, man. I'm tired of the authority on my screen. Something's telling me they're going to go back to it. I hope I'm wrong, but I've never been more disappointed in a finish in my entire life. Let's talk about this review. Let's talk about Raw, and let's just go into this review. Alright, guys. I've got all that out, so there's not going to be any more ranting from me. I've just never been more disappointed and angry in my entire life, and I've already pretty much talked about the main event, so I'm just going to go into the rest of the show. I'm going to be honest, it really was a good opener. I actually did think that it was a pretty good opener. I got no beef with that at all. Bayley definitely was the highlight of my entire night. I love seeing Bayley, and her being teamed up with the New Day was probably a great move. It really was. I mean, great chemistry going on with those two. I enjoyed it, and also with Dana Brooke, she has really great chemistry with Anderson and Gallows. The only problem is that I would love to see Dana Brooke perform more. She is getting a little bit better, but she's just getting literally beaten up every single night, and she hasn't really had some decent wins. She's had a few, but it wasn't too bad. But the highlight of the night definitely was Bayley. The fact that she teamed up with a New Day kind of makes the unicorn horns a little bit more tolerable. But I am highly impressed with Charlotte. Very impressed with Charlotte and her heel work. Her heel work was really great. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Just because I actually had a very negative taste in my mouth coming from the main event, I'm not going to say that this whole Raw was bad. They did an excellent job promoting the Universal title. Even though I don't know why in the world that Stephanie said it was the first championship match when it actually is the second, because it seems like they completely erased Finn Balor's win because of his injury. That's how it looks. Maybe that's something that she didn't think maybe she wasn't thinking about what she said when she said it, but that's how it looks. But I also thought it was really nice of how they actually did give a really good, I guess, somewhat of a visual eulogy towards Mr. Fuji that passed away just today, which is a shame. Him and Gene Wilder, rest in peace. And oh man, I mean, we've had some greats that left us like today, and it's just sad. It really is. But it's nice that they actually did have something for Mr. Fuji. Talked about his history and what he's done for the WWF as well as the WWE, and I think it was a great way and very respectful way to say goodbye. So I really did respect that highly. It was nice to not hear anything coming out of the mouth of as you can see, I'm still a little flustered from my rant, but it was nice hearing nothing coming out of the mouth of Titus O'Neil. It really, really was. His promo last time was one of the worst, and honestly, this is a feud that nobody cares about, and for some reason they're shoving it down our throats. I don't necessarily understand why they're trying to make Darren Young great again when he's never great at the beginning. He was never great at the beginning. Titus O'Neil was okay, but he was never great either. But this is a feud that no one cares about, and it's going nowhere. So I'm hoping it's going to be squashed in the next pay-per-view and be done, and we're never going to see it again, because I'm just tired of seeing Titus O'Neil on my screen. But moving on down the line, I will say the funniest segment of the night definitely was Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman in the ring without Brock. But the fact that Paul Heyman pulled out $500 worth of wands and just started throwing them at Stephanie. He literally was making it rain on Stephanie. Practically the most disrespect I have ever seen on television since the Attitude Era. And somehow Stephanie didn't really catch on that Paul Heyman was making it rain on her. Like, I don't think she caught on with that. I really didn't. And I was just like stunned and rolling at the same time. Oh my goodness. I don't think anybody, I mean, there were a few people on Twitter that actually noticed that it was just nothing but ones. $500 worth of ones. Ultimate disrespect. But then I'm like, the whole thing with Seth Rollins, something is telling me that they're trying to start up some kind of a love thing between Stephanie and Seth. Stephanie's not going to have it. Seth's going to be a lovesick brat. And then Triple H's going to get somewhere in the middle. I pray to God that that's not going to happen. Like, seriously, I really don't want that to happen at all. Seriously, Lord, don't let that happen. But other than that, yeah, this night, I guess I'm not going to lie, y'all. That main event was amazing. It really was. And it just got soured after what happened. And I've already stated my personal feelings about that. But I'm just going to go into as many matches as I can think of in a positive way. I'm not going to lie, seeing Sheamus versus Cesaro 7 times can be a bit tedious, and it's going to be hard to upstage every single match, seeing the same guys in the match over and over and over again. But I do like seeing Sheamus as well as Cesaro on my screen performing, because those guys are amazing performers. I'm okay with that, as long as they're able to step it up a notch, and it seems like that they're trying to. So I'm not going to really give any beef when it comes to that. But other than that, guys, the opener was great. Some of the matches on the card were really good. We had pretty much we had a mixed tag match tonight, and that was pretty much it with the women's. I'm kind of okay with that because I really didn't have anything for them. But it's kind of interesting how the whole $500 fine for Shane didn't real, and how Stephanie was trying to be the good guy against Paul Heyman, noticing that her brother was slammed and one of his guys got cut open to where he was bleeding and half his brain was probably popping out. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the fact he had an enormous gash on his head and he had to have 10 stitches to close it, and he was bleeding buckets in the ring. Nobody mentioned Randy Orton, but the fact that Randy Orton was literally bleeding half of his own body fluid out on the ground, and her own brother got slammed. $500? Come on, man. But seriously, guys, my overall thoughts of this whole Raw is this. I'm not going to say it was horrible. It had a horrible finish, but the show itself was not horrible. It did a good job by making the Universal title relevant by giving every single last opponent a vignette, including Big Cass. But I did find it interesting that Roman said nothing. Like, Roman was completely mum throughout the entire night. I don't really know why that is. Maybe he was hoarse. Maybe he couldn't speak, and they probably just did it that way. I don't know. That's just my own theory. But they did a good job with making the Universal title important, as well as giving vignettes to every single last performer there was to make them important. Then you also had some matches in there that were filler, but they weren't bad. The match with Jericho was pretty good. Then you had the match with Sami Zayn, which I really wish that Sami Zayn was going for a title instead of being in these random matches with Jinder Mahal, which we knew that Jinder was going to lose. But I would love to see him going for a title. And then we had a mixed tag that actually was pretty fun to watch, with a really great opener, especially with all the guys in the ring sitting together and talking. I honestly thought that was a really great way to start off the whole thing, especially having the guys going to back and forth banter. And I love Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is amazing on the mic. He will always be amazing on the mic. And I loved him in that first segment. But the ending does put a very sour taste in my mouth, and it just bugs me the fact that Triple H just can't stay away. That's what bothers me. A lot of people love Triple H. Huge Triple H marks are excited. And if they are, they have that right. But for me, I wanted to have a clean finish for Owens. Owens deserves a clean finish. He had a clean finish with Cena, which literally just shot him to the moon. He would have had, if he had a clean finish with Seth or with Roman, that would have blew him up further. But unfortunately, it got sullied because of interference, and especially when that interference wasn't needed. And it really does downgrade him in my eyes. I still love Kevin Owens. I still think he's amazing, but it just soured a lot. It soured a lot of stuff. It soured the match itself when he did that. That's just me. That's my overall thoughts. But like I said, this Raw was not bad. It had its good points, but that was the worst. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about this Raw, whether you liked it, whether you hated it, what you would do. I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts, because for me, that main event put a bad taste in my mouth, and it just put me in a real sour mood. It's jacked up, but unfortunately, that's what it is. Well, guys, I'm done here, and I want to hear your thoughts. Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.